Well, and so again, from the local constitutional coup from California, and the news today, as is often the case lately, comes from the White House and President Trump, who just got their first case to the U.S. Supreme Court. And in a case they're going to win because he wants to replace executive officers in that department of government. And you have some ridiculous idiots out there telling them that you can't do that. And not only is the case already decided, and the Supreme Court might not even have to issue much of an opinion here, it goes all the way back to the Reconstruction era in the 1860s. And and I hope they mention some of this in their opinion when they issue one, because that's what they tried to do to President Andrew Johnson, our greatest president, no question about it. When he tried to terminate some employees in the executive department of government, most importantly, Edwin M. Stanton. And he was told he couldn't do it, and he did it anyway, and he got impeached for it. And wouldn't you know, they missed by one vote of impeaching him. Had that happened in that era, the Supreme Court would have done what they're going to do today and ruled that he had full power to do it as the head of the executive department of government. And if he don't like you, see you later. It's his administration to run. He got duly elected, although that's an interesting story for another day, by the way. Uh, but yeah, this is going to be actually a very simple case when you think about it, because he either controls the executive department or who doesn't. And the current justices have made some very recent decisions. And any of the articles I've seen in the mainstream press or even online don't even mention any of this. And the Supreme Court has much as said what I just said in these opinions, that the president has full power there and he can't be interfered with. It may not be perfect, but it's the way it is, and we can certainly live with that for the time being. Because if he gets in there and his administration wants to do certain things and you don't want to do it, see you later. Have a nice day. So this is a very important case. We'll see how long it takes. They might not even have to issue more than a one sentence per curiam opinion in Trump's favor here. We'll see if, when, and how long that comes. And we'll see if they mention this business with Andrew Johnson in there back in the day, because they know the connection as well as I do. And that's an important part of American history. As you'll learn, that Reconstruction era is largely responsible for the condition that America is in today. Johnson tried to do the right thing. We'll learn a whole lot about him. Send me an email, unincourt@gmail.com. And he fought as best he could under the circumstances. But you'll learn that none of that crap passed in the 1860s, especially the Reconstruction Act of 1867 and the non existent 14th War Amendment. They're out of there. They're not there, and they can't use them against us, even if they would apply to corporate entities like Chase Bank, IBM, and Microsoft. That's a different matter altogether. But even they, if they made the right arguments, might get out from under it. I'm making a ruling on that. But it was so bad. I mean, the ratification, quote unquote, with a capital RAT of the non existent 14th War Amendment, started us down the journey, to where we are now. But then, in fact, the same government they had in Nazi Germany under Hitler back in the 1930s. And that's no coincidence, by the way. You'll learn more about that. Send me an email, uwinningscourt@gmail.com. But if we get our federated republican form of government back, ordained and established, by those racist framers who ordained and established this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. If we simply get back to square one, we're going to do a lot better, and we can make changes and do it the right way. There's none of this happened. I mean, the 14th Amendment, what you're going to learn, the ratification of that amendment violated all 6 articles of the Constitution. It really did. And to learn more, send me an email, unincourt@gmail.com, because any one of these issues wins your case. Doesn't matter whether it's a homeowners association, mortgage bankster, traffic court, child procurement syndicate, you name it. You're in an administrative tribunal, and yet we have a right to a trial by jury according to the course of the common law in a judicial court from day one, and that's never been changed. And we want it back. You will learn how to go in there and invoke these rights and get the job done here because that's what they're doing to us. But nobody goes in there and makes these arguments. So learn more about that too. Uh, and the problem they have with that is number one, they didn't teach you a damn thing in a mandatory public education system. Ain't about anything I'm talking about here. They didn't teach me back in the day, 60 odd years ago, when I went up to school right outside of Washington, D.C. Much better education, especially without all this transgender bullshit that's going on now. But we simply didn't learn what I'm talking about here. It wasn't taught and probably hadn't been for decades. But we need to do that, uh, so that your kids and your posterity will be educated. They'll know their rights and they'll be able to take effective action to preserve them. That's the best gift that I can give here with my lifetime of work here. That's how it'll show up. But when they get on a jury, they're going to know they have the power to rule on the facts and the law. That goes back to the Magna Carta in 1215, and we want it back. Simple as that. So to learn more, send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, and I will fill you in on exactly what's going on here. And we go back and forth. And by the way, with my materials, very modestly priced. You get complimentary phone consultations, complimentary document updates, complimentary Zoom appearance at a court hearing. I'll need a little notice for that so I can alert my roommates. And even a complimentary get acquainted video from me to the perps in no uncertain terms. Stand down. Because what they're doing and what we can prove and what the Supreme Court knows is every time you go into an administrative tribunal, there are multiple acts of treason to the Constitution by all official actors. And these are law school graduates, and they don't know this? What law school did they go to again? Pyongyang Polytechnic in North Korea? Which, by the way, would make some sense because North Korea has a democracy over there also. 3 wolves, 2 sheep, voting on what's for dinner. But they have a lot higher truth in advertising there because they had a 99% turnout at the last election. But the reason for that is that not voting in North Korea is an act of treason which will not be allowed to be repeated. That's exactly what a democracy is. 3 wolves and 2 sheep voting on what's for dinner. And we want to get rid of it now, be done, get back to our republic. And by the way, when that happens, most of the government not only is in sovereign independent states, but I would think 75% of it or so should be on the local county level, especially education. And that gives parents a lot more control over the curricula and what gets taught there. So they don't teach all this bullshit in school anymore. And the kids get the truth and learn it early and get it right. How good is that? To learn more, send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. Subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out. The sooner we take action, the quicker we get our government and our rights back and benefit our children and our posterity. Thank you.